Ranger Smirsick with Combatter Training. I'm here today with Jay Addison of Prepared Citizens Training Group. And he's going to talk about some of the stuff that he does out there in Alabama, correct?
Yeah.
And then also he's been making some cool products as far as being able to mount a tourniquet on your rifle. One of my favorite part about it is it pisses off people on the internet. So I kind of want it on every rifle. Like I think Lewis and I were talking about just making a rifle that has every inch covered in tourniquets.
Oh, that's fun.
But yeah, man, why don't you give everyone your background, where you're at, what kind of classes you do, and then we'll start talking gear.
So I'm Jay Addison, Prepared Citizens. Yeah, I had a short time in the military. I was an Army infantryman. That was kind of my first exposure to this realm of modern firearms and medical, all that good stuff. And then just throughout time, my hobbies have been shooting and just learning more about everything that goes on in it. And then I started going to tactical response, took fighting pistol and immediate action medical, got my NRA firearms certification, just kind of dabbing in everything, teaching people locally. And as far as right now, I'm working on getting a range, like somewhere that actually will belong to me, that I can dedicate training to, all that good stuff. But in the meantime, I do medical training at like local fire departments and stuff. I actually do it for free just to show people in the local area and get more people involved. It's kind of my big mission. And got a few online training things and more hands-on stuff coming up the pipe. So, and we sell kits, all that good stuff. And YouTube, this is not a gun. This is a piece of a gun, but this is the prototype. This is the one you saw at SRF.
Yep.
And so something you can mount tourniquets on your weapons.
Bring that in real close for everyone to see. So, and it's only attaching to a CTR stock right now, right?
Yeah.
But then it's basically a real simple way to shock cord a tourniquet on there, which will be pretty fast to pull out.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of tourniquet you got. Obviously, it'll hold any tourniquet. These are extremely solid. These ain't on the website yet. These are still in the prototype stages, but because I want to make sure it's going to be a good product before I put it on the website. But here's what it looks like with soft T. And the idea came from, especially like home defense stuff. If, most of the time you wake up buck naked in the middle of the night with somebody kicking in your door, that way you got some medical on you. And from a, operator standpoint, you really can't have too many tourniquets, in my opinion. If that's one thing I've learned throughout every dude I've taken training with. So, have you seen the new snake staff tourniquets?
I have.
Man, these are all.
You like it?
I like
it was kind of weird to me having the that clip there. Like, one thing is that if the tourniquet for some reason needed another turn, I don't like having that clip in the way, right?
Yeah.
I like to secure mine by wrapping the tail back around the stick and then down through the plastic wings and then white time tab over that.
Got you.
But you've been liking it?
Yeah, so far I've really liked it. I've not been able to break it yet. And
good.
Man, it's been pretty sweet. I love, as far as, we advocate for people carrying 1 or 2 tourniquets on them daily. And, just having something, especially a windlass that we can't break, that's actually that in that compact of a package, I think that's really cool. I hope it maybe gets more people wanting to carry this stuff.
Yeah, that is the one thing that I do really like about it is there's a bunch of dudes who weren't carrying a tourniquet before that now carry one, and so I mean it's kind of like I carry a full size a recon in my ankle med kit,
Yeah.
kind of like someone who wouldn't normally carry a gun because they're too big, but now they carry a little gun. It's like, okay, you're
Oh,
carrying a gun, I'm happy. Same thing with
right.
tourniquets, like you're carrying one, okay, I'm happy. Uh, Now, what got you wanting to design the set mount and that? Like, was it like a thing that was just in your head, or was it kind of something um, that you knew needed to be made?
Man, it's a crazy journey on that one, really. What really is something I'd always kind of thought about since the military, because in let's see, once we got to our unit, there was some SF dudes that were on the rifle range that were giving people like tips. They were on like a break from deployment, I guess, and they would just range dudes helping out. And really, really sharp shooters. Like awesome. I think one of them was actually a sniper. But anyway, they all had on their M4s, they had tourniquets rubber banded to the stock.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what started the idea. I remember asking them about that, and they were just like, "Dude, you can't have too many tourniquets." As like
Right.
you go to combat, you cannot have too many tourniquets. And I don't know, that kind of got my wheels turning. And then once I started going to tactical response, as you know, it's a big deal there too. So I guess it just, and then actually, this is the funny part. So all this is just ideas for a long time, right? For years,
Mm-hmm.
it's just ideas. I've not put anything into action, nothing into motion. And then actually, my wife and I were having a nap one day. This was a couple of years ago, probably. I guess God put it into a dream, and I am not joking. And dude, you can ask my wife. I just jumped up from this nap. I'm sitting up on the side of the bed, and she's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I said, "I got to get a meal, and I got to start making these tourniquet mounts for rifles." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm serious. I'm serious. This was like put in, like I've never had I don't know. I guess God speak to me at that level or anything for that matter." And yeah, that's really how it started. It's kind of funny. So so with that being said, it started the motion of all this.
Right on. Now, I remember, I think we were both at alumni weekend a couple years ago, but we didn't talk to each other. We didn't know each other at that point, but someone was like, "Yeah, he's got a thing that puts a tourniquet on the side of the gun," and everyone's like, "Why would?" But it might melt, and I'm like, I mean, like, yeah, but you can technically kind of melt anything,
Right.
like, like I'm like, if someone broke in and I shoot so much that I'm melting my tourniquet, um, I don't think melting my tourniquet's the biggest problem right now. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't want to say that as a cop out, but it's like it's kind of unrealistic to think that that's going to actually happen. But I know that's one of the first things a lot of people said. Um, I think the only actual issue I've had with it was using it on a truck gun. If your vehicle is totally full of sticks and shit, from the range, like fairing strips. Because I had a time where I was driving home and they were like, my wife was like, "There's police helicopters," and Nick said he saw a dude walking around in her neighborhood, and I'm like, "I don't know, but I want my rifle in my hands." So I was trying to pull out from the backseat, but there was too much bullshit in the way, and it just made it like a little bit, a little bit of a snag point. But
Yeah.
then we're like, if it was underneath the rail, like here's the front sight, here's the barrel. If it was here, I had it here, right? So if it was here, it wouldn't have mattered. Um, have you gotten slack from people online about that?
Oh man, it's been wild. It's definitely not for everyone, and and people can't seem to get that. But But yeah, there's been a lot of people. Like one dude, this was hilarious. I was actually dying laughing when I read this one. He was like, what was it? Oh man, I wish I could remember exactly. But he was talking about, wow, why don't you go ahead and figure out how to put a fire starter on your rifle too, or something like that. I was like, well, if you angle it just right, fire does come out the end of it when you
Yeah,
shoot.
this
So
is true.
got a
Yeah.
fire starter. But yeah, it's been lots of silly things. And too, something talking about like the heat and all. I've not been able to melt anything yet with it, but a lot of people will like tape up part of their rails and shit to hold, buttons and stuff on their gun. And
Right.
you don't ever hear about that stuff melting. So I don't see I don't see how putting more material back there would do anything.
I just realized, Evan made me realize I still got the caption from yesterday on. I need to get better at that. It's my third live stream like this. So
I know, man, you're doing good on these.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm thinking this is a good direction to go. The truth is, my friends over on Bulletin, if you haven't listened to their podcast, check out really good stuff. But Mike Fiore and Max Lasagna, he they have a pretty awesome podcast going on, and I was like, man, you guys should just interview like all these cool people we're doing. And then I just did it to help promote one of my friends that's coming down here, Zach with Definitive Training Solutions. And I was like, man, I should just do all these. And I was like, oh, I'm doing that thing I wanted them to do. And then tomorrow you guys can see me on them Bulletin doing this. So can you show off the set mount too? Do you have one handy?
I don't have one. Hey, I got some in the box here.
Now, it was funny because I also got shit for having that on my rifle. They were like, yeah, and take that tourniquet off your gun, you idiot. And I'm like, hey, dumb fuck. You think if you need your rifle, you might need a fucking tourniquet too? And it's just funny that this doesn't come to people's minds, So set mount right there, pretty sweet, simple, intuitive thing to install. It just has M block. What do you call them? The brackets on the back, the thing that it screws into.
Yeah, the little M lock nuts. And I mean, this thing's really versatile. You don't have to use it with tourniquets. That's one thing I've been stressing to people. I'm like, dude, you don't have to. I saw one dude. Shoot, I cannot think of his name. But anyway, he was doing like a patrolling video on his homestead or something. And he actually had rubber banded a little cleaning rod and stuff for his rifle onto his rail, just because he had like different stuff in the stock or whatever. But then if you clamp it down, you got some elastic here. You can put whatever. I've had some people put magazines, like a spare mag. It'll fit that. So I guess just use your imagination.
Yeah, so basically, guys, you can take that and run it through the molly on a pouch and then stick that on the side of the gun.
Yeah.
So, pretty handy little invention. Now, are there other things that you're wanting to start cutting out, milling for attachments to go on the side of a rifle?
At the moment, I'm just this one's what we're working on right now. As you saw the pictures of yours, get ready to send it out. Looks pretty cool.
Yes, very excited for that.
But we got the all the edges are chamfered and all that good stuff, so it's all slicked up. But at the moment, this is it. I really want to get it. Besides me, I want to get some guys like you working with it. Have you heard of Paul Howe, the CSAT way? He's got one.
Right on.
He actually got his yesterday. He sent me some pictures of it. He's actually, he was funny. He's thinking outside the box. So he got longer screws. He went and bought some longer screws, and he's like running it on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang, dude, it's a pretty good idea. But
That's cool. Yeah. Jared and I were actually talking about Paul Howe yesterday. I really hope he shows it off because
yeah,
I've seen.
he's liking it so far. So it was funny, and I reached out to him about the set mount. Like I sent him this one, or I didn't send the product to him. I sent him an email, and I said, hey, would you be interested in this? And sent him a bunch of pictures of it. And he was just straight up like, no, I have no need for that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like it to me. It makes all the sense of the world, but you can show people. I've shown different guys, and including like SF guys and stuff, and some of them were like, no, it doesn't service the rifle, and I'm like,
Right.
it doesn't need to. like it services me. The rifle services me, so does the tourniquet. But whatever.
Yeah.
Guys.
And honestly, I appreciate criticism like that. Like it's definitely, I don't take it any wrong way or anything. The infantry ripped our feelings away long ago, so that doesn't bother us. But a lot of people did request, something on the stock and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest thing was being able to access both sides for slings and cheek weld. I did not want a tourniquet touching my face to mess up a cheek weld. If you had to take a long shot, that required a little more concentration. So, and that's what we come up with. So,
even with you put a higher mount on the gun, even it coming up a little bit higher won't really matter if the tourniquet's a little bit higher on the stock. I like the Unity 2.26 inch mount. Basically, I like carry handles. Max Lasagna always gives me shit for it.
and that's a good old carry handle, man.
Dude, carry handles they're based. I love them. And like Paul Howe, right? The movie Black Hawk Down was a huge inspiration for me going into the military. I probably watched it 300 times as a kid, Hey guys, y'all got any questions for Addison? I'm like 31, I think. I was born in 92. Someone can do the math for me on that.
30. Okay. I'm an 88 model.
Oh, you're older
than me?
I'll
be 36 this year.
I guess I'm just aging harder. I thought you were younger than me.
And it's because I trimmed my beard.
Chuck Peoples, have you gotten him one of these yet?
I've got him a set mount, and as soon as I get yours shipped tomorrow, I'm probably going to start working on his this weekend.
Okay, cool.
So, but yeah, I'm definitely getting him one. He's ready to beat it up.
Right on. Now, since you're infantry in the Army, and then you started doing civilian training classes, what was like the big differences you saw? Let's talk about me actually medical first, between medical training and the commercial side, the civilian side, versus medical training in the Army.
Well, I guess, man, tactical response really did a good job. I mean, it wasn't too crazy far off from, say, like a battlefield first responder. Like all the tourniquet application type information, wound packing was pretty relevant still, which made me feel good. I will say I guess the military maybe set you up for, I hate to say that, but kind of set you up for a little bit more of a long-term type situation in case, you can't just drive straight to a hospital type thing. I know toward the end of that, when they make you start doing IVs on each other and stuff, they kind of tip you into a little bit more advanced, but I guess not quite like a combat medic, enough that you could help a combat medic. Yeah, man, it really wasn't that much as far as, when it comes to bleeding and breathing, wasn't too much different.
There's a few things that are really different for me doing combat lifesaver in the Marine Corps. When you did in the Army, did they have you looking at the tourniquets? Like, did you guys focus on self-application as much as they did at tactical response?
Man, it's been a long time. It was 2009 when I went through that, but they did. I do remember it was a week long, that entire portion. Dude, that was the hardest week of everything, of like infantry school and all. No joke, the medical stuff. But yeah, they did a lot of focus on self-aid, because basically, I mean, if you die, you ain't helping a buddy. So,
right.
And the main goal is to be able to help your buddies. Yeah, and like your medical kit, obviously, in a military or even a Minuteman standpoint, your IFAC, that is for treating you. Whereas, like, you buy one of my medical kits, put in your vehicle, you're ideally thinking of treating someone else. So you gotta think about it that way. You can't just rip off your own IFAC, start using it if you're in the military.
Right.
But yeah, and I mean, as far as like your priorities to, on the civilian side, obviously you're going to get that higher medical on the way. You got those priorities. I would say getting off the X is pretty similar, even in a car accident. You don't want to be close to the road if you've just been in a car accident, and you at the same time want to have some kind of visibility to the road if you're too far off for the higher medical. And then in combat, you definitely want to get off the X. But yeah, I mean, it's in its own little way, but a lot of similarities.
Yeah, the biggest differences I saw was like not looking at the tourniquet while you put it on. I was like, oh damn, like, because we were always looking at it because it was more team-based environment, and I had not known how to reset a cat tourniquet, right? So in my brain, it took like 15 rotations to get a cat tight because I was never taught how to reset it. And that's something that, I learned that tactical response, but then I've shown that to Army medics, cops, EMTs, doctors, and paramedics, and none of them knew that. So I hope it's more of a, more something that's coming around where more people know it. But I don't know. Did they show you how to reset tourniquets in the Army? Do you remember?
There was, I know one, it might have been two, which one I didn't talk to that much. I know there was one 18 Delta that was helping do the the first 2 days of the battlefield first responder. That dude was high speed. I remember asking that dude, I was like, how many tourniquets have you ever put on? He said, I put on over 20 in the past 3 months. So I was like, damn, that's serious. But yeah, he had just gotten back from a deployment. But, talking about focusing and resetting a tourniquet, I don't remember them going into detail on that. And you talking about, keeping your eyes up and getting sucked into applying a tourniquet to yourself. Yeah, they didn't talk about that so much, or I don't remember it in the military. Whereas tactical response really emphasized on keeping your eyes up, and that helped keep your peripheral vision open and not getting, too hyper focused on one specific thing, so you can kind of see what else is going on, especially if you got multiple people that's injured.
Right. We actually have Heather from Tactical Response in the chat right now. Hello, Heather. Everyone say hello to her.
What is that, Heather?
Now, if you get a chance to, specifically this year, I'm trying to make it down early to role play. I've been meaning to go role play for the fight, and me actually medical if I could, but I ended up having to leave early last time. But Advanced Immediate Action Medical, personally for me, is my favorite tactical response class, because it's like immediate action medical. There's stuff like that, but getting a little bit more advanced in it. But the biggest thing is it's more like the fight, but heavy on medical. So like, all the stuff you did with blue guns and immediate action medical, we're doing that with sim guns now. And so it's managing casualties, bad guys, and then bystanders getting in the way, right? So it was a very challenging test, but man, it was a lot of fun. It was actually at the first one that they redid. So also, guys, if you took Advanced Immediate Action Medical, like, more than 2 years ago, it's a totally different class now.
Very
now,
nice.
Let's see. So what made you want to start training people?
Man, I guess I kind of always just sort of by accident, always, a lot of people would come to me, just friends and stuff, friends of friends, and just want to go shooting, want to learn how to shoot. I guess for some reason I was always kind of the gun guy in my little group of friends and stuff, and anyway, just a couple years ago, it really started kind of playing on my mind. I'm like, man, I probably need to get a little more formal with this stuff and like get some like high quality training myself and kind of see how people articulate this so I don't make, mistakes and whatnot. So that's kind of what led to that, really. Just me being a dude in the group. And now everybody thinks I'm crazy. I wear a tinfoil hat. Which, yeah, I usually don't wear my tinfoil hat on camera, but,
Well, you're associated with me, so now you're going to be twice as crazy.
Sounds good to me.
Guys, do we have any questions for Jay in the chat?
Yeah, I got a question.
What is the next class you want to go take, or what are some that you're like, man, I can't wait to make time to make that one happen?
I'm actually signed up for one, and it's not medical or firearm related. It's Evan's class, Radio Made Easy. I'm going to his class next month in Camden.
Nice.
Me and my daughter, my oldest daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, we're going to be taking 0 to hero radios.
Nice. Yeah, that
is something I want to get better at.
Yeah, that's another thing you're offering now too, is also radio programming, right?
Yeah, I know just the basics. Like, I basically, when I figured out how to program this to work with like the hunting radios or FRS radios and stuff, just, and a lot of people's been buying this stuff and not knowing how to do anything with it when they buy it. And I try to send them to Evan, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend that much money. So I've sort of just been offering like basically the UV5R with the GMRS, and let's see, it's got the weather channels, just some real basic programming that's already on it that I guess at least they can use out of the box.
Right.
And, it's no big deal, really. I tell people, I'm like, if you want the advanced level, you go to Radio Made Easy. That's where I'm going to be getting my training and all my stuff from. So
nice. Yeah, Evan's great. Actually, he was in the chat earlier too. Evan, you still there? Comment. Yeah, I think the first like formal time he did 0 to hero, he did it down here. And even, he's been making it better and better and better every time. But like the ways that he like explains the theory behind everything, kind of the science behind the radio, it was just spot on. He made it make a lot of sense. But I will say, for me, it's like radio stuff melts my mind. Like I did. We also did the first tactical radio operator. here in Florida, and I did good on everything, but I was still like, is this right? And it's something I need to practice more of. I've been having it in my brain that I'm gonna have one of my students, Gary. He's communicating across the world on HF right now, and he took the deep dive on radio stuff, and I haven't seen him since. When he was training with me at least once a month before that. But I've been like, oh, I'm just gonna have him quiz me and I'll do stuff with him, but I haven't gotten that done. I need to do that. Many of my alumni are in the chat right now. I know we were doing the airsoft practical application of skill stuff at my house of it. I was thinking we do like a radio get together every now and then too. If you guys are interested, let me know.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna show you this book. I read this amazing book last month. You seen this one?
The Gorilla's Guide to the Baofeng Radio. I've heard of it. Yeah, NC Scout. Yeah,
man,
it's backwards on us, so it was hard to read.
Oh,
not that I'm bad at reading.
That's an awesome book, though. If you like reading, it teaches you a lot about the radios. It don't really go into programming, but just teaching you like the I guess you'd say shit hit the fan scenarios and like how you'd need to use a radio in a tactical environment. It goes into a lot of very awesome detail and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm super pumped about going to train with Evan though. I've met him twice and he's super nice dude.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's also the most patient parent I've ever met. Him and his wife Hannah. It's like I'm like, damn, I lose my cool so fast. And they're just super calm and so good to their kids. That's like another level of impressive to me. I didn't grow up with patience, from my family.
Yeah, we feed our kids hot dogs.
Right on. What class do you want to do after that?
Man, I'm trying to touch. I'd really like to come train with like you and that Sonny you introduced me to at SRF. I very much enjoy basic level 1 pistol classes. I feel like I like hearing everybody's take on the fundamentals. You know what I mean? Like their core theory behind everything they do. I like hearing all the different instructors, and that kind of stuff. I think that's probably the biggest foundational, training.
If you want to host me in Alabama sometime, man, I'd be down for that. Jay and I were talking about doing a trip out west, all the way out to Arizona, probably during the winter. Although I could. No, Sonny's coming here. Sonny's also coming here to Florida later this year. I need to get posted on the calendar, but I'd be down for that. One thing I would say, even like teaching beginner people, man, and I guess this kind of goes against what Reston was saying yesterday. But I would say getting doing one of the more advanced classes, I'm doing Reston's performance pistol here in, I'll put it on the screen. That's when I'm doing it. Like 2 weeks from now. But doing that, or I just did the Kinetic Consulting, a red dot sight mechanics class. It's kind of like it becomes a different look at even just the fundamentals in itself. Kind of like on the emphasis on what's important, right? Because Reston's class, the last one I did with him, it was heavy on trigger control, draw stroke, and grip was important, but it was a little bit heavier on trigger control and managing the dot, controlling what the dot's doing. Whereas when I did the Kinetic Consulting class, his whole emphasis was basically if I were to, so the primary things he was talking about was your vision, what your eyes are doing, and your grip on the pistol. cheating the trigger press and really like nailing down your grip to a point where it's like you can just slap the trigger super fast and the dot stays on the target.
Right.
So I would encourage you to do one of them, like, because that's I've been going outside of like our circle of trainers into the green line. I mean, he's part of our circle too, but it's kind of a different part. But the green line kinetic consulting, all those performance pistol guys, where they're kind of mixing competition with the idea of gunfighting together. Because you'll see some interesting stuff there, and it's even like when I teach fundamentals, there's some things like I don't even talk about, but I'll go like real in depth on some other things with them. But I would encourage you to do that. And yeah, Sonny, you'll absolutely love him. In fact, I'd say he's my favorite instructor, but don't tell him that. But he's like a dude who opens your mind, and there'll be times where I'll go to a class and I'll learn a bunch of new things, but I don't change anything. I just add to it. But he's a guy who can make you actually go like, oh, no, I'm going to stop doing that thing that I was doing right there, or word this thing differently. Like even after doing Sonny's class, like firearm safety, I teach in a different manner. I don't do it his way, but like I've adopted some principles from it. But yeah, you'll absolutely love his stuff. Shooter Fighter Matrix is the first one I did, and I did Fight Like a Girl. I know I look like a dude who does a lot of women's self-defense classes.
There you go.
But it was cool. It wasn't, smack him with a purse and kick him in the balls. It was, getting close outside of his workspace, and then, put your thumb on trachea here, crush it like this, and this is how you move their head, and this is where you insert a blade. And I was like, damn, like in that class, I was like, man, I didn't realize I had no idea how the human body works, like how to manipulate it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, what little bit I've done in like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu and things like that. I mean, just shit, man. For anybody that's never done it, go do a week or two, and that just a week or two in one of those, you'll learn a lot from those dudes.
Right.
It's wild what the human body is capable of, how easy you can shut it down. It's pretty wild.
What are combatives like in the Army? The Marine Corps, we had, MCMAP, Marine Corps Martial Arts Program. There were belts and stuff like that to it.
Yeah.
What did you guys do in the Army?
Yeah, it was just Army combatives. It was sort of a mix. A lot of jiu-jitsu, a little bit of kickboxing, a little bit of Muay Thai. And they had like 4 levels. Mm-hmm. And if you were a level 4 combatives, you could basically fight in UFC fights. Like you were straight up, professional level. And they had the whole thing on you where you can't hit people and all that stuff. And typically the guys that would do those classes were like usually level 2. And even a level, I don't even think, I didn't really get into like trying to hit levels. I never got that far in it. I was basically just doing the requirements, and that was it. I mean, I had fun doing it, but I didn't get deep in it. And even the level 1 dudes, man, I got my ass kicked by some level 1 dudes. They were, I mean, just to hit level 1 for the most part, you had to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. What made you want to join the Army?
It was fun. 9/11 mainly.
Yeah.
9/11, seeing that as a kid.
Yeah, it was funny. I remember when I was a kid and I was like, oh shit, my dad's going to have to go to Afghanistan. And as a kid, I was like, I don't want him to go unless I go too. And I was in like 3rd grade, But the funny thing is, when I went to Afghanistan, my dad was there at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't have any family members serving when the towers got hit. Let's see, both my granddads had served in the Army, and then I got an uncle on my mom's side. He was in the Army. He was in intelligence. So once I got out of high school, and I actually didn't go straight out of high school. I actually went to college, became a Harley Davidson technician, and I had this girlfriend, and she didn't want me to go in the Army or any military. And so I didn't go. And then she dumped me finally. And when it is like literally the week of her leaving me, I went and enlisted. I was like, well, now that you're out of the way, I can go. So
All for the better, right?
it definitely was.
Yeah, it's funny how sometimes bad things are actually good things. We just don't realize it, you know?
Yeah, that was
Although maybe you did right away. Maybe you're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of sad, but at the same time, I was like, this is a good thing. So
Yeah, more relief. Yeah, I've been there, man. So like growing up, was shooting a part of your family's life?
yeah, I grew up in Georgia on a fairly big cattle farm, and my papa he owned the cattle farm and ran it and did all that. So we, I guess, inherently grew up hunting and fishing. We had 3 pretty decent sized ponds we fish at, and a lot of deer hunting. And our main jam was dove hunting. We love dove hunting. So we always grew up shooting guns. Never anything like tactical. The most tactical thing you'd see on the farm was a Mini 14. But
Hell yeah.
So yeah, really the AR platform wasn't introduced to my family until after I went in the military.
Right on. Do you still hunt?
A little bit. I don't hunt as much as I used to due to time constraints, but this year I plan on hitting the woods pretty hard because I don't know if you know this, but my wife just graduated nursing school last weekend.
Oh, really? Well, tell her
Yeah,
congratulations.
I know she's done. She's finally made it. So she actually starts work next week. So that's a huge step in our life right now.
Nice. And then what are you doing for work right now besides teaching and making stuff?
So my full-time slave trade job is a design engineer for a company in Villarica, Georgia, Saber Diamond Tools. I design wood cutting tools that does like wood trim for doors, cabinetry, all this kind of stuff. We don't actually cut the stuff. We just design the tools, sell the tool to the wood manufacturing company and all that good stuff. So
Nice.
it's pretty boring. I sit at a computer all day.
Yeah, you just got to make more gun stuff. I got some ideas on like different AR-15 sights that I want and stuff like that. So whenever you want a project, I think I've told you about them before, but whenever you want, run with it.
Man, I tell you, the biggest thing holding me back right now is my capabilities. So my machine is a manual machine, and that is in today's realm, it's very limited on its capabilities and things and its speed of manufacturing something. But yeah, one day as I grow, eventually I want to get into some CNC stuff and take it to something else too when it comes to gun stuff is 3D printing. That stuff's coming a long ways. I really want to get into that too. I'd like to try.
That's something I'd like to be able to get into, but I'm like there's no time for that. I'm just gonna try to find people who are already good at that shit to make that stuff.
Got you. I know for me, I already enjoy like programming softwares and things like that. Anything basically that works on a coordinate system, I guess got a knack for it. But so I definitely want to try to get into some of that. And honestly, like this thing right here, I was thinking this would probably be a pretty cool, like a polymer carbon fiber blended material. That'd pretty neat to try it in that too, see how it holds up.
Yeah. All right. Do you got anything else for them?
shoot, I think I'm good, man.
All right, man. Well, thank you.
Buddy, carry a gun and a tourniquet.
Yes, and get training.
Get trained.
Once again, guys, here I'm gonna post a link to the set mount in the chat again. Get you one of those. Help support Jay. Tomorrow I'll be on the Bulletin live stream. If you guys haven't listened to the Bulletin live stream yet, you really need to. They're doing some good interviews with instructors and students, industry people, and Mike and Max are both dudes who train. So it's a good perspective, and they're helping grow the culture. Also, bulletin.net is a place you can go, and Jay, you should post your stuff there. Bulletin.net is a place where you can go and you can find trainers in your area. You can find classes, you can filter what type of class you're looking for. So help them grow that as well. But that's all I got. Once again, Jay, thank you for joining me. Everyone who watched, thank you for joining. Keep fighting communism. Kill all pedophiles.